Okay, Jimmy T here, and I want to talk about health issues, staying on top of your health care. Really important given what I'm getting ready to do. And it's important at any age, and it gets even more important as you age, because the opportunity for things to happen, for the body to fall into decay and long-term orthopedic issues and on down the line, it's real. And what health problems do is rob you of your ability to live an active life, and it takes away choices. And I want as many choices as I can have. As I get ready to do this, I want to engage in my life in the Philippines. I don't want to just sit around in a coffee shop outdoor at a restaurant and watch life go by. I want to get out. I want to be on my scooter. I want to hike. I want to swim. I want to scuba dive. I want to do all kinds of stuff. And that takes a certain amount of health, and it takes a certain amount of physical stamina and strength and structural integrity in your body. And so I really encourage anyone, and it seems to be the case that oftentimes men seem to be the ones that don't necessarily feel like seeing the doctor or stay on top of these things. And you know what? I will admit that was me somewhat in the last couple of years, trying to navigate an HMO that I had, which wasn't stellar. Getting a regular doctor was problematic. And for a year, I literally gave up on it. So I didn't have, though I had insurance, I didn't have a regular doctor. I didn't even get an annual exam for, I think, 2 years running. And, that was just me not feeling like I wanted to battle, the healthcare system and my Blue Cross Blue Shield policy, and staying on top of what it took to finally track down, a physician that would accept my HMO. And so, many of us have dealt with the healthcare system here. And some people have great policies and no friction and concierge doctors and everything. And probably many more don't have those kinds of things. So I will admit, I let that slide. And as part of my relocation, I lowered my head and I got on the phone, and it took some time, but I finally did find a doctor and got in for my annual. And I had a couple of surprises, and I'm going to be real transparent and share those with you, because it's important. It's really important to know what is going on with your body, the things that you can't see. And the first big revelation I had was, probably not a revelation. I had a sense that my cholesterol profile was not great. I have hereditary factors, and sure enough, it was atrocious when I got the lab results back. I mean, pretty bad in every way. I had a bad ratio. I had low HDL. I had high LDL. I had, triglycerides were high. Everything was bad about my cholesterol profile. And so what did I do? Well, based on the physician recommendation and my own research, I decided to go on a statin. It's not going to be for everybody, but I had a sense that was the right call for me. And, it only took about 8 weeks, and being on that statin snapped my cholesterol profile back into pretty much a perfect profile after I was retested. So they are effective. Again, let me say right now, this is not medical advice. This is what I'm doing. The advice that I will give you, and I feel fine giving this advice, is go get good advice from a physician. a doctor that you trust, someone that is thorough, someone that takes the time to test and ask questions. And I'll throw in also that you need to be your own healthcare advocate. When I went in to see this doctor, I had generated about a 20-item checklist of things that I wanted to cover with him. Now, some were really minor, very minor, but I wanted to stay organized in my head. You know, you get into a doctor's office, you start talking. Some doctors are a little bit impatient. They're staring at their iPad, they're charting, whatever, and a lot of things can get missed. So I went in there with my list, and I thought about this list for a time before I went in for that appointment. And that was a good idea. It was really helpful to have that. And so, you know, we covered all kinds of things. The blood profile, the cholesterol assessment, that was a big one. And he knows that I have, you know, hereditary factors. My dad had heart disease. My grandfather had heart disease. So that's the one factor you can't dodge. You can't change your DNA. Many of us would love to, but that one factor you can't change. There are side effects. I still have to examine a little bit of what I'm feeling with a sensation in my legs, which is kind of a common issue. There can be a little leg weakness, but I'm still evaluating how all this is working as far as being on the statin. But it certainly did its job when it came to my cholesterol profile. Another discovery that I had that I was completely unaware of was varicose veins. In my mind, I thought varicose veins were simply, you know, these superficial veins that you see that are bulging out of people's legs and that are really obvious. They can be for all different kinds of reasons. But mine were more, they were deep, so they're not obvious to the eye. But I was having some leg weakness over the years, and sure enough, based on an exam, I have quite a few varicose veins. And another part of my health assessment before I got, you know, to the doctor for my regular physical, where we discussed this, I had signed up for a cardiac profile assessment, and this was something that I did at Rush University. They run specials all the time, and you know, everyone, your insurance isn't the only way to get health care. There's all kinds of things you can do, that you can take charge. You can go to Quest Diagnostics and get all kinds of lab work without a doctor's order. You go there, you pay, they run specials. You get the information, they give you, you know, they give you the labs, the feedback, the norms, where you lie in relation to, you know, healthy, not healthy, and then you can take that and discuss it with a physician. But there's lots of ways to get information about what's going on with your body, so do some research in that regard. So I signed up for this cardiac assessment, and it was a CT scan of my heart. It was also an ultrasound of my aorta and other structures in the heart, and also a circulatory test. So that gave me a lot of information, and the cardiac aspect was solid, no problems there. I think they were looking for, you know, calcium deposits and all kinds of things in the vascular system, and that was checked and cleared. But it did show that I had some compromised venous return. Well, venous return, so that's the blood getting pumped up from your legs back up to the heart. And varicose veins, that was the culprit. I didn't really know what was causing that until I saw my doctor, gave him those findings. He did his assessment and said, yeah, sure enough, you do have a number of varicose veins. So, you know, I started wearing support stockings. Nothing like making you feel old. Hey, you need to start wearing support stockings. But it is what it is. So I got a full length pair. I have some knee highs, and they do help. So I do wear them. I don't wear the full length one. I wear the knee highs, and they do help. A procedure that I may get when I do get to the Philippines, because it'll be more affordable, is something, I believe it's called ablation. And that's just kind of a cauterization. So they go into the affected vein that is pooling. It's not doing its job to get the blood pumped back up to the heart, and they kind of cauterize it, and it dies off, and then the blood gets rerouted to healthier veins in the system. And so that may be something I choose to do, and it's outpatient. It's not supposed to be some, horrific surgery where you're unconscious for 5 hours. So that might be something I explore, or probably will explore once I get to Manila. And simple things like, a full physical exam. They're doing all your blood work. They're doing a urinalysis. You want to know what your A1C is. Know what is going on with your blood sugar. Diabetes is no joke. It eats the body alive. If you don't know too much about it, do some research. That's why people talk about making sure you have a solid, healthy blood sugar, and that it's properly managed. There's lots of things you can do about it. So look into that. The other thing I did was an updated eye exam. So, I got new glasses recently and got a fresh prescription. So I know exactly what's going on with that. My dear friend is my dentist, and I was just there this week, and she gave everything the once over. She also did a complete set of x-rays, which she will email me, and then I will have those to give to a dentist in the Philippines. So I have a full set there. Some skin issues. That was something that, I had put off. Growing up in the 70s, 80s, sunblock, what's that? So yeah, I had some skin issues, a few things that I had removed, pre-cancerous growths, one on my face, one on my chest. Again, this stuff is not real, it's not real sexy to talk about, but, this is life, and I want to share with you the things that I've discovered about myself, and encourage you to, get on top of this stuff and pay attention to what's going on. If you manage health, if you manage your health care, if you manage things that happen to you and don't procrastinate, you can take care of an awful lot of stuff. It's when you procrastinate, when you don't pay attention, when you just say, I just don't want to think about it. Well, you can not think about it all day long. It's still happening. So figuring out issues that you have and then doing something about it. We live in an amazing time with all kinds of advances in medical technology. And that's going to continue to be the case. So we do have an opportunity to live long and live healthy, but you have to do your part. You have to do your job. And some of the things that I'm, considering when I get to the Philippines is just more self-care, which means more regular body work. That means massage work, relaxation techniques. Having access to a swimming pool is going to be important to me. I'm not exactly, real comfortable in the water. It's not like I just, frolic and can swim laps and everything, but I do like being in the water, and it feels good, and I think orthopedically it's great, and just for relaxation. So that was just a little bit of what I wanted to share with you, without going on any longer about healthcare. Get on top of it. Make sure you're getting your regular exams. Find out the things that are of concern, and don't ignore them. Because our job is to age gracefully. It is we're trying to slow the inevitable decline as dramatic as that sounds, but that is what's going on. And we can age gracefully, but staying on top of it, thinking about the kinds of foods that you're eating, and you know, exercising, being active, being social, all those things are huge. And I'm looking forward to spending more time and working on all those different aspects once I get to the Philippines. So, all right, everybody, that is my 2 cents worth about healthcare and about the things that you want to pay attention to. Okay, until next time, be sure to hang loose, and if you would, consider subscribing. Okay.